Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oh, it looks like I still have the music going. Oh, I know why. Hold on. Okay, I had the music going because I had YouTube going on the other side. I'm just going to turn.
Yes.
So, Michelle, I'm going to start by telling people about the show. Then you're going to tell them about you, and then we're going to get the party started. Cool?
Okay then. All
All right.
right. Go.
So, today's show, what signal are you sending? Behaviors never lie, right? So here's what I'm going to read this to you because it's so amazing, right? What you do is who you are. And are empty and meaningless when not backed by authentic actions, meaning practice what you preach, do as you say, walk the talk, and actions speak louder than words are all ways to say that your behavior never lies. So there is this disconnect between what people say and fake lives. Like, this is so cool. I love this topic. Mwah. There's a disconnect between what people say versus what they actually do. And when there is a disconnect, it will steal your joy, the trust, and happiness. And it will send, she's like, Mommy, you don't talk fast enough. She's like, I'm already done. It will send mixed messages and it will tell others that your reality is distorted. And so when you don't walk the talk, you'll undermine the communication, create doubt for others, which, by the way, circles back to you, right? To create self doubt because we're all a frequency. So it will also create a negative circle of life, and you really don't want that. So the opportunity that Michelle and I, the Rockstar Coach, are going to present to you today is an opportunity to balance our words with our actions. And when we cannot be our words, which that happens, we must renegotiate our agreements. Looks like I had some spelling issues in there. That's okay. Send a grace card. So when we say when what we say and what we do are not in alignment, people feel confused, frustrated, disappointment, and words may attempt to explain, but but your behavior, behavior, Michelle's behavior, her behavior defines the real message you're sending. So let's start talking about the signals as they relate to your professional life, your health, your love life, and anything else you want to talk about. This is going to be a rockin' show. Just say now. Boom. So
She was
her
like
capability,
smiling the whole time. She was smiling.
I know she's a lovey. Michelle, tell people who you are and why you do what you do.
Yeah. I'm Michelle Froge, the Rockstar Coach. I'm an intuitive coach, and I help women. I guide women to their best life, and that can look like doing an intuitive reading, um, or reading Akashic Records sessions, or um, or coaching. Right? We do mindset work and energy work, and I do it because it is it is a true joy for me. It's my passion. It is what seeing um, and being able to be a channel for transformation and change in people's lives that they want to see these things happen in their life, and they're just maybe stuck or they don't know how to get there. It's just the most rewarding and beautiful thing to be able to share my gifts and light in the world in that way.
Well, and that's huge, right? So when you're stuck and you can't figure it out and you see someone like you or see someone like me, right, who can access consciousness or your historic records, which is what Akashic records are for those who don't know. Um, what happens for people when you unlock that little mystery?
I mean, it can it can truly be like starting a new life, a new chapter of their life, because things were not flowing prior to, perhaps, and just that bit of awareness or clearing some energy, or, and you and I, we can help start the process, but we can't do it for them. And so, it really, if someone is committed, it really is a life change, because you got to put in the work afterward, and you do change because your thought processes change and your perspective changes. So, it can look very different for many people. I mean, some people have lost a ton of weight after they've worked with me, and some people have gotten out of relationships or into relationships, or, had money windfalls or whatever, or had new career opportunities. I mean, there's just so many different things that can happen, if people are open. And that's, they got to be ready, willing, and open to change.
Yeah. So like my one client, a 12.5% increase in her pay because I helped her shift her mindset. 12.5% increase.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome.
Right. So, because I was just doing the math there, I'm like, well, how much exactly was that?
Yeah.
And so when you shift your mindset, when you think differently than what you are thinking today, you have an opportunity to co-create with the universe something completely different than what you have today. So if you're not satisfied with what you have, if you want something different, you're yearning for it, both Michelle and I access the subconscious mind and look at the things that you might not be able to see. I also teach how to do this. Michelle, do you teach people how to do this as well?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I like to teach.
I mean, when I do, I do my Akashic Records journeys, I do take them through a short guided meditation to help get them into the energy, and it's always recorded. So in that way, they can then go back and go in for themselves, if that is something that they want to explore on their own, because, we all have the abilities. We just have to learn how to use them and develop those gifts. So I don't teach them like you do, but I give them the opportunity to come alongside if they like, rather than just being kind of an observer,
Right. So sorry. My husband just sent me a text message. It was really, really funny. And I can't say it on live.
That's really good.
So I am just tagging so people know that we are live right now. Would you share an example of signals that people are sending that they might not be aware of?
Sure.
It sends maybe a message that they're not intending.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will. And before I do that, I kind of want to say, this makes me think of something that came up yesterday. Someone was telling a story, and they said, this was through text message, and so they may not have understood the intent behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you asked me that came immediately to my head. And this is kind of what we're doing, perhaps, if we are not sending, or if someone's receiving a signal that we don't intend for them to receive, right? So saying one thing and doing another. We can say, I love vegetables. This is just going to be a silly example, right? I love vegetables. Talk about vegetables all the time. I mean, you garden, you do all of this, whatever. And every night when you sit down to eat, there is not a green thing on your plate. It's like, okay, you're saying you love vegetables, but I never see you eating them. So what is that? What is that saying? I mean, that's right. A simple example, but it can be used for absolutely anything. When we say one thing, but our actions don't say the same thing, we are not sending out the correct signal. And so it's important too for us to know what we mean, because I think that oftentimes what happens is we're wishy-washy in our own mind, and therefore our words and our actions may not always be on the same wavelength because we don't really know for ourselves.
Right. So this happens, I think, when we're oftentimes trying to serve two masters. Right.
Yes. Yes.
What do I mean by trying to serve two masters? Like, you are working your normal work day, let's say is 8 to 5, and you decide to take a half day off, but you don't forward your calls to someone on the team, or when you leave a message for someone to call you back, you don't say, in my absence, please call, and leave a phone number so that that person always has somebody else to connect with. So what that does is it ties the person tethers them really to the job, and they don't actually get time off from work because now they're fielding calls at 12 o'clock noon, which normally would be okay, but not today because you took a half day off. So how are you setting yourself up? How are you setting yourself up to fail? Right? And so if you're not setting yourself up to accomplish what you set out to accomplish, then what you say and what you're going to end up doing are going to be two different things. So what's the plan behind the intention?
Mm-hmm. An example that came to me that kind of enlightens me a little bit more on differences and intentions is an example of someone saying, and I'm going to use gender here because generally this is how it's explained. You'll understand. So a man that says to his wife, the family is my top priority. I want to be there for you all. I want to take care of you. You know, you're my top priority. Well, then he proceeds to be a workaholic. Let's just say that. Just work a lot and not spend much time with the family. And so the woman then hears, I'm the priority, but the actions to her are not saying the same thing. However, that man is driven for his devotion, by his devotion to his family, to work more, to work harder, because to him that is showing that they are a priority, because he's working so that he can make money, so that they don't have to worry about things, et cetera, et cetera. But they see things differently. So his actions in his mind matched up to his words, but in her mind, they did not. And so therefore, and I think we were probably going to talk about this anyway, but the communication, around the intention. And so if she gets mad and doesn't say anything, then she just thinks, well, you're full of it, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't understand why she's, grumpy or whatever. But if they were to communicate, she could explain to him and he could explain to her. And hopefully they would come to some sort of, understanding, and maybe a little bit of a negotiation of their agreement as well.
Exactly. And so, well, there's so many places to go with that.
I know. This discussion could go many different directions.
Yeah. And here's the thing. A lot of times people are not aware that they are doing this because it's their normal, but they're degrading the trust in their relationship when they can't be present. Does that resonate with you? Oh, here's my husband. Okay, hold on. He says the workaholic thinks he can make it up to his family later in their life. Once once they are secure, tell that to the child who didn't get to spend more time with him. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
huge thing.
It is.
So
True. And this could be female as well. I generalize because of just ease of.
male, female. I know some men that are stay-at-home dads now. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. This is not a gender specific situation, right?
No.
And so one of the things, so I studied with Dr. John DeMartini, who is a human behaviorist, a doctor of chiropractic, and I started studying with him in 2018, and that was after I was off of disability for a year, and I just kind of knew that there was more to the story about not only reclaiming your health like physically, but what are you doing mentally? And so in the first hour of my first class with him, self mastery, I think it was called, or the breakthrough experience, self mastery, he has you do a value assessment. And that value assessment, you have to say, okay, these are the things that I value. These are my top 3. And he really called me on my, because he said, well, show me evidence, like what you were saying.
Very interesting. Yeah. And could you show him on all accounts, or
No, I was not putting my money where my mouth was. So, I mean, when it came to health, absolutely. When it came to family, absolutely not. So then I started listening to the book, The Secret, and in my bed, I face on the other half of the bed for my mate to show up. Right? Because I was like, I'm all about relationships. So like, well, where do you have one?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's right.
So if you are saying that there are, certain things that you value, ask yourself, where is the evidence to substantiate your claim?
Right. Like someone that will say, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to get in great shape. I want to run a half marathon. But they're eating chips and sitting on the couch watching TV, right? Well,
Yeah, you don't do that on the couch and eating whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. So we know that anybody watching this show can come see me, can come see you, right? To get help with this. If not, they can watch a lot of our shows. I'm just going to say this. When Michelle and I do these shows, Michelle's on every single month, first Tuesday of the month, religiously. And we're going to talk about that. Don't let me forget to come right back to that, Michelle, because I'm going to use you as an example. Okay. A good example.
I'm not worried.
I didn't think you were.
Even if it was bad, it would be deserved, I'm sure.
I don't have bad with you. So,
Thank you.
I just don't. Probably one of the most delightful people I know. And the other one, Ashley, right? Yeah. Anyways, I will keep myself up here because otherwise I'll do the blubber cry.
No need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So typically I would say this stuff you can read about it, which there are, don't get me wrong. But I really want to tell you, when I was doing this show, I was like, this is something that you actually need coaching on. I've spent decades learning about how to be your word, right? There's a great book, The Four Agreements. Be impeccable with your word is one of the agreements. And not that you can't change your agreement, but you actually have to show up and be present and renegotiate the agreement. So I want to tell you something. There's this woman sitting here on this show. Her name is the Rockstar Coach. Her name is Michelle Froge. I met her the second week of December of 2021. And God told me to go to this vision party. And I said, I don't think so. He's like, go to the vision board party. I don't want to, is what I'm saying. And he's like, go. I'm like, fine. So I go, and here's this little whip of a girl, right? Sitting on the floor. And I'm doing my vision board. And she just kind of throws me a little clip of an idea for my vision board. And it was almost like, two eyes meet and they know that they know each other because there's like a soul connection. And then we didn't stop talking. I said, you need to be on my show. And I had Michelle on the show once. And then I asked Michelle to be on my show every month. And Michelle doesn't miss a beat. She just doesn't. She's her word. She operates with integrity. And the one time in what is it, 2.5 years now? Is that right? Like 2.5 years.
At least. Yeah, two at least.
Two, yeah. Because we did all of 22, all of 23, and part of 24, right? Mm-hmm. So over 2 years. Mm-hmm. 2 years, 5 months, 2.5 years. Give or take a month. Okay, so there was one time she called me and needed to renegotiate her agreement. Once. But she is like clockwork. And so as a result, we don't have arguments. We have complete trust. We know if somebody can't call back, we don't worry about it. We don't make up stories. So when you don't have trust for somebody because they're not being their word, as humans, we will make up a story about why that person's not calling us, not showing up, not texting back, whatever, or not emailing back, right? We make up stories. I don't care how good you are. What would it look like for you to have a relationship with someone like Michelle? Can't have her. She's my best friend.
There's only so much of me to go around.
I'll share. But what would it look like if the people in your life were showing up like that? And so since we can't change people, how you have people show up for you like that is to be that yourself.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're not here to change others, but we are here to change you.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's go.
Well, I mean, and so this is a practice. You have to unlearn old behaviors, right? And download, create new behaviors that serve you so you can get to where you need to go. Michelle, name a behavior that you had to unlearn or that our client had to unlearn in order for them to get where they needed to go. Go for it.
I'll use me. Things having to be done my way, like the dishwasher being loaded a certain way.
But the dishwasher always has to change because it's a puzzle.
Yes, it's Tetris, and I love it. I'm really good at it.
Me too.
But I had to give up the idea that just because it's not the way I would do it doesn't mean it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And that was an easy example, but I've learned that principle for many different things in my life, and it has absolutely helped my relationships because I then don't react, right, with a, well, that's not the way it should be, or getting frustrated or upset or angry or whatever. No, I can step back and say, huh, okay, that's not the way I would have done it, and maybe that's better. Maybe that's a better way to do it. That's really cool. I love that. That's a great insight or whatever, and if we can do that and learn instead of snapping or whatever, right? Then our behavior matches our words that say, I care about you, I respect you, I always want to learn. I'm on growth, on my growth journey. Well, okay, then prove it. Kind of like, Dr. John with you. Show me.
Yeah, show me the money, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I had to change for me, I think, okay, let's just let the cat out of the bag. I had anger. And so I had to retrain my brain, and such that I believe that when I spoke to some people, I sent my heart space to them with a lot of love, and they felt it. And I also think with a lot of people, I withheld my heart space and I put a barricade up. So they were only getting my mental energy, but they weren't getting my heart center. So literally for the last 3 months, I've been retraining my brain to send love as I speak to someone, even if I have a belief system that maybe they did something I didn't like in the past, send them love anyway. And I want to tell you, I was coaching someone just before the show on this. People, you can change the world literally by sending love. There was a person, I'm not going to use a name or anything like that, but he owns a large company, and I was struggling with this person for a long time, almost 8 years or 7 years. And as I grew spiritually, I decided to send healing to this person, send love to this person, send compassion to this person. And that person then sold his company, stayed with the new company, and I was going to be cut out because I was too small of a distributor. Okay. And this guy snapped a finger and had it shifted for me in a nanosecond. And all I did was send him love and healing, like for probably the past year and a half, maybe 2 years. Because I knew if I sent him anger, because energy travels, I knew for a fact I was not going to get what I wanted. I was going to get more anger. So that's the law of attraction. So if someone is not giving you what you want, send them love. End of story. We're done with the show now. And it's been 30 minutes now. But so I coached somebody else on that today who's having an issue with, a family member. And that family member is not doing something that could impair somebody else's health. And I said, well, keep on sending her love, keep on sending her healing. And this person that I coached is now fully trained, as a energy healer. She's amazing. You may know her, Michelle. And And so we can shift the world. We can shift the entire world by sending love to people, everybody. And I don't mean just go, oh, I love you. I mean, send your heart space, your energy of love to that person. Thoughts, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that kind of getting back to the what are we saying versus what our actions are saying,
Mm-hmm.
versus our words, I guess, is, something that I think can be a tempting, it can be tempting for a lot of us at different times. So we may say, I am not judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk about other people. I am all light and love, right?
Yeah, no.
And then we might not even be the person that starts the conversation, but are we participating in a conversation where someone's being talked about in a judgmental way?
Yeah.
Are we participating? Or are we saying, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. I choose not to, get involved, and walking away, right? Because we can say that we don't like that, or that we don't accept that, or we don't do that. But unless we truly take the action that is needed to prove that we don't, by means of getting out of the situation, right?
Mhm.
So
So
it
the
can
question
it
you're
can
putting,
seem oh sorry it can seem like you are backing up your word because you're not talking about somebody. But if you're also not leading the way in making change for others by setting an example, whether or not that's right for the other person is not the issue. It's you doing what your convictions are, right? And so following up, backing up your convictions with proof that they truly are your convictions, just like your values, like we said.
so I think that's really huge, what you just brought up. So, like, you're at work and somebody's gossiping about another person, and especially if you're a manager, but even if you're not a manager, right? Um, um, you can be kind about it. And I mean, that the very least, you need to walk away,
Mhm.
right? And not participate. But in the best practice is to say, hey, I wouldn't want someone to be talking about me behind my back. So how about we, dissipate or stop this conversation and send, just, be the change that we want to be in the world, right? I mean, you might not say go have a direct conversation. That may be too confrontational for that group, but at least say let's not create a behavior that hurts other people,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think and I've come across that too, some of the people that I've been coaching. And um Michelle, that's huge.
Mhm.
Really great job about bringing that up, because how many times have people been in a situation where they're being talked about, or someone's being talked about, and it's you know I mean, I used to be that person, by the way.
We've all probably been that person at one time or another.
I mean, it was decades ago.
Yeah.
but
I mean, sure.
um but I'm first of all, I'm not willing to hear an opinion, an unsolicited opinion about someone, um especially if I don't know them. Like, why would you want to cloud my judgment?
Mhm.
Now, no one can really cloud my judgment anymore. Like, you can say whatever you want to say, and it's not going to happen, because I'm going to meet them and I'm going to connect with them on their heart and my heart and see what happens.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, come up with another example. You got a workplace situation. We've
Yep.
talked about a love life.
Yep.
What about well, I'm wondering if anybody who's listening has an idea that they want or a question that they want to ask, right? Like what questions do you have where you're confused about the signals that you're sending and you think that maybe your behaviors like are behaviors being backed up by or excuse me, are your words being backed up by your behaviors?
Mhm.
Um,
I was thinking of RBF. Uh,
what's RBF?
resting bleep face.
As in bitch?
Yeah.
I've never heard of RBF, and
Oh
I
my gosh. Yeah, it's a total thing. So it makes me think of that because perhaps, and I think you may have brought this up maybe in your description or something. I can't remember. Anyway, um, you know, if someone is shy, it, we may, on the outside, we may take their um, lack of um, talkativeness or uh, we may think that they're unfriendly, right?
Right.
When really they're just shy, like they're uncomfortable. Not, doesn't have anything to do with you. They're shy, so it takes them a while to warm up. And so if you're on it, yes, we're talking about ourselves and the signals that we are sending out. And also, if you're on the other end of that, try not to make assumptions. Like Jody said, try not to make up stories in your own mind about why they look like that, why they have RBF. Well, they're just rude. Oh, they're in a bad mood. Well, no, maybe they're just shy. Or maybe they're having a hard day and maybe it has nothing to do with you,
So
right?
she learned a new term too. I've never heard of RBF.
Oh, yeah.
But
So
I
it's,
do.
I don't even know if I can do it because I probably can. But it would be forced and it really wouldn't be right. But you know what I'm talking about. If
Oh,
people
I
feel
do.
like they're mean or whatever, and that's not
So
necessarily true.
yeah, so I do know what you mean. I never heard of the term. And what I
Uh-huh.
used to do, so this is before I went on disability. It was 2012 and 2013. I was working at a bank in Illinois. And I had done a lot of work, human development work already by that time. And I remember when I was having a bad moment, which I was having a lot of bad moments back then, right? My mom had recently passed, my dad passed, my brother-in-law passed. I mean, like boom, 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 boom. And so it used to be almost kind of um, road is, hey, don't personalize my energy. Now, I didn't even have the full definition of energy back then, but I said, don't personalize my energy. I'm not doing well. So if you get a bad vibe from me, it has nothing to do with you. Now, I was practicing that in 2012 and 13 because my life was a complete shit show, right? And the
Yeah.
last thing I wanted was for somebody else to feel bad about something I'm saying, doing, or thinking, or projecting that has nothing to do with them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's a really good practice. If you know that you're having a bad moment in time or a long moment in time,
Mhm.
don't worry about RBF, right? Resting face, which
Mhm.
is a great new term. Um, just let people know, hey, I'm not doing well. This is not about you. So I don't want you to personalize it.
Mhm. Exactly. Communication really does solve so many things. it creates a safe space, like you were saying. It,
Mhm.
it builds trust with people when
Mhm.
we can communicate calmly. Look, I need a moment, I need a day, I need a week, I need a month, whatever you need, right? It's like, tell me what you need, and then I can honor that. I don't have to think that it's me. I don't have to sit and, you know, go around and around and around and make things up that aren't true. You can just communicate with me, and I can respect what you tell me as well.
So, yeah, so communication is key. Um, and I'm learning that some of the most brilliant people that I know have not found their voice, right? And so here's a brilliant mind, a kind heart, and they're sending a signal of, I don't respect you, I don't honor you, what you've asked of me and I've agreed to is really not important. And those signals are being sent because that person hasn't communicated the change that they need or made a request or anything. They go to complete silence. And I'm here to tell you, silence is not golden.
Right. Sometimes it is, but in that case, no.
Well, sometimes we need to tame our tongue.
Yeah, I've
And
had to do that plenty of times.
I'm still learning to tame my tongue.
Yeah, me too.
Ask
I
Ian
think
Through.
it'll be a never-ending process with me. I've always had a sassy mouth since I was little, so I can use it. I'll just use that as an excuse.
Well, it's funny. It's like you come out of the womb with both fists up, right?
I think I was just I was sassy from the get-go, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like out of the womb, both fists up. And here's the interesting thing, and it's a little bit off topic, but really not. I'm going to tie it back. You and I, and someone else we know, starting, first name starts with an A, right? And I believe she's watching the show right now. We had to be warrior women, right? We had to be stronger than maybe the average female. And so that's a message that we're sending, this tough exterior, when truly who we are.
It's not.
It's not. We're so soft and we're so loving, and we are, and I know you are, I know the other woman is. And so if you have been in a situation where you had to suit up and put on armor, and that's most women, by the way, because there's a lot of stuff happening to women that should have never happened. I'm going to tell you, there's an opportunity now to send a different signal as well and change your behavior when you are in a safe place to do so.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful I have a safe place to do it. And so, in these signals, if we're constantly, now I'm going to talk frequency for a moment. So if we're constantly sending this signal of toughness and, as, being a warrior woman or an angry man or a resentful woman or a retaliatory man, it doesn't make a difference what your sexual, what your gender is. It's irrelevant. The law of attraction states that what you give out is what you're going to receive. So it is so important to really take time to feel your feelings, understand why you feel those things, If you have a partner, discuss it with your partner. Hey, I'm feeling this and why. And it could be about your partner, it could be about your partner's work, or it could be about your partner's, another friend or something at church. It doesn't matter, people. What you want to know is that we need to allow people to feel their feelings so that they can then go back to being heart centered. You want to add to that, Lovey?
What resonated a lot with me was the frequency thing, and go tying it back to with the law of attraction. The universe does not understand words. The universe understands frequency. And so if we are saying, I want to lose weight, I want to be in better shape, I want my health to improve, and we don't physically actively do something to put ourselves in the frequency of fitness, health, weight loss, eating healthy, whatever, then the universe cannot grant that to us, because the signals are getting mixed up, because one frequency says health, blah, 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 blah. And the other one says junk food, sedentary lifestyle,
Toxic TV, yeah, another frequency.
Yeah, exactly. So it all ties together. If we are not sending out the same frequency with our words and our actions, everything, like you described in the description of the show, everything gets confused, even the universe. And then that's why we feel stuck. That's why we don't move forward in the trajectory that we say we want to, that we really desire to, because we are sending out mixed signals. So, maybe not even that they're not backing one another up. We're actually sending out mixed signals. And so everything's all jumbled.
And that causes chaos.
It absolutely does, yes.
So, like, if you're looking for a new job and you don't have stated for yourself what that new job looks like, guess what you're going to get? The same thing that you were just in.
Exactly.
Or something worse.
Yep. I was going to say, whatever comes up is what you're going to get.
Right.
And it probably
won't
align with what you said you wanted.
Right. So you got to live with intention. I mean, really. And I'm usually not one to push this on our podcast. I'm not. I mean, I tell, but people, if you're watching this live, or if you catch the replay, you really want to call us for a session on this. And here's why. It will change your life. You start living with intention. You start understanding how words are empty and meaningless unless they're backed by authentic action. Okay? We can help you get from A to Z. And so you need to ask yourself, what is it in life that I want that I have not been getting? And then call either me or Michelle. Michelle and I, by the way, we don't compete. The people that are supposed to call Michelle will call Michelle, and the people who are supposed to call me will call me. My number is 847-738-0242. And how do they get in touch with you, Michelle?
Just send me an email, myrockstarcoach@gmail.com.
myrockstarcoach@gmail.com. And if you're not big on making phone calls, you can email me at jody@susanessentials.com. And of course, all this information is in the thread. So, but I don't know of more important mindset training that can be offered than this, quite frankly.
Well, when you are living with integrity, meaning, your words and your actions match,
Mhm.
then things just seem to fall into place more easily, because again, your signals aren't mixed. So the universe gets it, right? And so the universe continues to deliver that on that frequency. And therefore, if you don't know what it is that you want, or you don't understand why you're not getting the things that you want, that's a key that probably something's out of alignment. So
Mhm.
you're sending out a mixed signal somewhere, and or there could be an energy that is keeping you from it, but that is also mixing the signal. So, we can help shift and clear energy and work on the mindset and, reprogramming, like you said, Jody, reprogramming your brain, your subconscious brain,
Mhm.
to be able to automatically then think a new thought, believe a new belief, rather than something that is keeping us out of alignment and mixed signals in our frequency.
Right. And so there's something I was going to add to that, but I'm getting rapid downloads. It's like, whoa. Um, Here's the thing. Let me just ask Spirit what they want me to share. You are what? Okay, so I hear it. So you have limitless possibilities. And the only thing that's stopping you, wait for it. The only
Wonder what it could be.
The only thing that's stopping you from achieving your goals is you and your subconscious mind. And once you wrap your head and your mind around the fact that the subconscious mind runs, I think, 95% of what you do,
It's a lot, yeah.
yeah, you'll call us. Because it's, I went to a BNI meeting today, and I was explaining, like, I help people get their brain in a theta state so they can access consciousness themselves, right? And the theta state is a state of creativity, which is used with precision sound frequency. And so there are many ways in which you can accomplish this. And I want to also just say this. Even if you are an intuitive and you access consciousness like I do, like Michelle does. Michelle, who's my coach?
I mean, you are very open to guidance from me from time to time.
So, yes. So, here's the thing. When we get too knee deep in our stuff, we cannot hear for ourselves.
Mhm.
So just because you're an intuitive does not mean that you're getting divine guidance all the time. And, I'm divinely guided. So is Michelle all day long. But you need a coach. A coach needs a coach. So,
Absolutely. I always in my other career, I always had a coach. When I first got my first coach, I never went without one again, because I understood the value of it. And the reason why, people like Tiger Woods, or, all these great athletes, or whatever, they have coaches and they continue to pay their coach. Guess why? You would think, oh, well, they're so great, they don't need it. That's why they're so great, because they know that there's always room for improvement, right? And they can't see things from a different perspective than they embody. They have to be shown another perspective, right? So
mhm.
it's so smart to to allow yourself to be open to receiving guidance and make sure that the person you're getting guidance from is, aligned with you and your beliefs, obviously.
Yeah. And so one of the things, and so thank you for that, right? And one of the things that I know, there are some people get triggered when they get guidance because they think that there's something wrong with them. They think it's a make wrong. They're not good enough. I'm here to tell you that you're perfect as you are. And I'm also here to tell you that you have room to grow. When you stop growing, dig your grave. Sorry. Because it is the spiritual, mental, physical growth that really is what keeps us alive inside. At least for me. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I crave it,
Me too. You and I can talk like for freaking hours about like all the different nuances of whatever. And so it's interesting. Like I don't know if I've ever, like Michelle's kind of like I've been told by astrologers that I'm a psychic surgeon. I believe that Michelle is one as well. She's a psychic surgeon. So what that means is you go in to the psyche and you can slice and dice, meaning, okay, well, this is the issue that's over here, but this is really your past life. This is your present life. This wasn't your memory anyway. It was handed down to you from mom and dad. We're looking at all these different ways, where these cellular memories or imprints, some are yours, some are not, right? And so when you have an expert like us go in and show you what that path is, things clear up quickly. Also, the guilt that you have for not being who you think you're supposed to be, that's gone. That dissipates. Because look, it is so not your fault that something isn't going exactly as planned, but it is your job to go figure it out and get the help that you need to go down that path. So it's 3:58. What do you want to leave people with, Michelle?
I think I would just say, look at this topic from both sides. Mm-hmm. Certainly, like we said, we can only change ourselves. And so be mindful of the message that you're sending with your body language, with your actions, with your words. Be a person of integrity. And also, part of being a person of integrity is when somebody else is sending mixed signals, try to communicate calmly with that person instead of reacting to them or making a story up, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, and I actually, and I don't, do you show people how to get rid of those triggers or not? I don't know.
No.
No, so I do. And, you can see both of us, quite frankly, because we do different things, but I show you how to get rid of those triggers, like release a trigger to a certain issue, whatever that issue is. As by the way, that could also be an imprint that was never yours to begin with, too. So here's the thing. You're all divine children of God, and he loves you, and he wants for you to not survive, but to thrive. And so believe in you and believe in who you are and what you're meant to be, and that you will be surrounded by the people that will help you get there. So imprint that.
That's a good imprint.
And Fagala, you want to say goodbye to Fagala? You want to say
I'm
goodbye?
so calm today.
Well, she's very, very happy in our new home. We are now in Powdered Springs, and she's very happy.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's
Tell me.
night and day. Yeah, night and day. So,
Mm.
so tune in next week. Honestly, it's been one of those weeks. I don't remember who's going to be on my show next week.
So who knows what you'll be talking about?
But it is Mental Health Month, and so I think that we may be running a show. It'll be recorded, pre-recorded. Will be on integrating traumas, right? And so trauma is a real thing, and the impact that trauma has on our memory and on our behavior and how we show up and how we feel. And I know a lot of people just say, "Oh, I didn't have trauma." I'm sorry, are you alive? You had trauma. And so we may have to even like redefine what trauma is, and so that you can give yourself grace when you don't show up exactly how you want to show. So, and someone sent us lots of hearts, it looks like. So we are so grateful. Again, Michelle, how do people get in touch with you?
My rockstarcoach@gmail.com, or my website is rockstarcoach.org.
Awesome. And Facebook is
At the Rockstar Coach.
cool. And so for me, it's Reverend Jody at 847-738-0242, or Jody at SusanEssentials.com, or you can go to the website at SusanEssentials.com and click the red free consultation button. Hey, it has been a blessing to have you here. And everybody stay tuned for next week, and say bye.